Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Libra season, Leo Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right, my Leo folks, I have made a video for the Astrology of Libra season is linked below. You can find that there, but just kind of so you know, as we head into this reading, we enter Libra season right after an eclipse. So there is still this 2-week runoff moving into Libra season of that eclipse energy. Also, we have square with Pluto and a massive grand trine pretty much second till we get in, but the day or two after. So there's still a lot of really big, intense energy swirling, especially with how involved Pluto is. So log that away. Bright side, we do get a domicile Venus during this season. It'll happen around the middle of the season. And then also, basically, the morning before we enter into Libra season, Mars goes into its domicile. So Mars is in a happy place, like an actual happy place, for the first time since we had that Mars retrograde at the beginning of last year. Well, end of last year, beginning of last year, the year before, and beginning of last year, because it started in December. And the shadow period was also rough. So basically, we haven't had this since since it would have been Taurus. So it would have been early 2024. So we're finally moving into a domicile Mars, and it's going to feel good. There are still a lot of kind of nuts and bolts to get through, and that's what I kind of want to focus on, partially because of what the reading looks like. But starting out, your archetype card is the vow, which it looks like a very serious vow. And we have this white bird of a promise. And let's see how many of those are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There is the number 9. And we have this gem kind of grayed out at the bottom. And the minute I saw this card, I was like, this feels like a past life contract in a way. And maybe that's something that rings true for you. Maybe it's not. But when dealing with past life contracts and whether we keep them or not, a lot of that comes through in repeated dynamics in various ways. So I would encourage you this season, what dynamics are you repeating? What do you keep experiencing over and over again? Is there kind of a doppelganger effect where you keep getting a variation of yourself or of another person in different forms, in different situations, in different dynamics? That is a signature of something past life related that benefits from being looked into, if not completely rectified and figured out. Obviously, you can't get down to absolutes, but you can get down to problem solving in past life work. So, in this season, what keeps coming up? And also, what promises are we making to ourselves and others as we move into Libra season? Libra season is the sign of the scales. It is about balance. The kind of trick of Libra season is that sometimes we can fall into the trap of balancing anything. Like the center point isn't always good. We can balance something all the way down on the spectrum of not great, and then manage that versus getting it back to the center of more equity. So, what are you promising? What are you committing to this season? And are we committing to things that we uh, can actually complete and hold and manage? Also, interesting in this is we have this set of hands clasped together, multiple sets of hands clasped together, being held together by another set of hands. It feels like there's an arbiter here, some energy that is kind of pushing this forward. Always remember that you get to choose to make a vow. You get to choose to commit. Do not commit to something simply because it is expected of you. Investigate it, understand it, know what you were signing up for, and know what the consequences of that choice are. Partially because you got a lot of energy to work through this season. So, what are we committing to? Starting off, we have the King of Wands. This is about fire and passion and projection of desire. What do you want, and how are you planning to get it? Now, the wands aren't necessarily the planning stage, but they are the stage where we have to take some form of action. So, in this season, especially looking at what we've got going on, it feels as though the energy is still kind of sweeping us forward as we finish out that eclipse energy and move through this grand air trine. but also what is a way that you can activate your desire for the things that you want and the stuff that's important for your soul to experience and to see. Not just doing what is immediately present, not just doing or participating in stuff that other people have already going, but really creating a niche and a space for you in whatever spaces you are interested in engaging in. We also have our friend, the Hierophant. And this is about taking ownership. This is also about higher knowledge and the passing on of said knowledge. Um, to me, it is the practical side of the high priestess, the kind of getting higher knowledge out into the world, educating people, teaching them, mentoring. What knowledge do you have that you can share? Sharing knowledge is a way to reciprocate, it's a way to perpetuate, it's a way to build energy. So, what do you have that you can give to the energy at large? What can you share with others? What can you give as a gift from yourself? And you can charge for this gift, but just the having, I'm not saying you can't like take care of yourself if you need to do this, but what is something that you can put out into the world? What knowledge, what understanding, what unique perspective do you have that you can give to others to join in the communal energy pot, as it were, in trying to perpetuate the energy that you desire to see in the world rather than just accepting the status quo and the way things are? We do have a Seven of Swords. Not everything is as it seems. Um, Seven of Swords to me isn't always necessarily direct lying, but it is people who may not know themselves committing to things that they cannot complete or do not have the personality for. So when people are making promises, when you are making promises, kind of going back to that vow, that commitment, this dedication that feels very heavy and prevalent in this season, do your investigation. Ask the important questions. Don't just follow things blindly. Be curious. Also, with the Seven of Swords, we don't always have to fight against deception. Some people don't need to know your business. Some people don't need to know what's going on, and it's probably better for you that they don't. So, also be cautious about who you're constantly sharing successes, information with. If they don't have your best interest at heart, you're kind of spending information in a place where it's going to sour a bit. So, if you have a passion project or a desire or a dream that's really tender and young, keep it to yourself and a few really reliable people. You don't need to tell everybody your intention, especially when it comes to systems of power. You are not obligated to give those in power your information. And you not giving that information is not a form of violence the way they pretend it is. They always pretend it's lying if you don't want to give them something that doesn't belong to them. But it's not. The only person who is lying is the person who is in power, who is using that dynamic to bully someone else. And if you can see the parallels between the world we live in today in the US, take it as you will. And then we have the world. There's some really big cycles still wrapping up. It doesn't feel like the eclipses are done. It doesn't feel like we've gotten to the other side of some of these topics, especially towards the end of Libra season. Also, this feels very much like the Libra new moon. You know, this is the moment to kind of push for, to hold on to. There's some really big stuff that you don't really have a huge amount of control in that's going to unfold and unfurl at the end of Libra season. So if the beginning especially feels very kind of slow and like we're still kind of jumbled up and we can't find all the pieces to the puzzle, know that there's a time when things are going to be more cohesive. The quality of that is still not clear. It might feel good, it might be hard, but you are going to feel a bit more complete by the time we get to the end of this season. There's a lot of things to kind of wrap up in Libra season. Also, Libra season is rebalancing, and the act of rebalancing is hard and takes a lot of core muscles. Then we have our King of Coins. You know, we need to ground this season. We need to connect. This is also a good time to check on your money, to project into the future and see how best to use it. If you have excess subscriptions, or because this is how they get you, excess subscriptions or something you're not using that you're paying money towards, or you want to make a purchase that's a little more frivolous, maybe hold off until the very least Venus goes into Libra, um, to really get a clear idea of what is going to be best for you. But definitely, cancel anything that you aren't actively using right now. That's a good way to kind of pull back your energy. Um, Subscription services tend to take and take and take, and very rarely do you get the bang for your buck. Um, Also, if you have plans that require money, now is the time to save for them. Now is the time to start manifesting for them if you don't have the ability to save, because that's also something that a lot of us have have in the 21st century, that we're run right up to the edge of our finances, if not beyond it, every single month. So start manifesting, maybe do a money jar or a money bowl with the Venus Libra new moon. Really calling in our money and energy to project into a future there where we can hold true to our vows, where we have the energy we need to stick to our commitments and our desires. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for Libra season. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my stuff. Blessed autumnal equinox, and I'll see you in a different space and time.